Welcome everybody to the very first C4K Pillar webinar. So this call, it was formerly called C4K Hot Topics, but we've rebranded it. We're going to try to make it a little bit more intentional, have more presenters. So we'll have these every other month instead of every month. And we'll be framing every session around one of the C4K pillars of engage, utilize, and connect. So this first one is going to be engage, and we're super excited that you're here. Just a few announcements though. If you haven't seen it yet, we have just released the C4K Early Years Report. This report details what C4K is, has a brief history of how we came to be, shows a lot of our data outcomes, and explores the three pillars through community stories. So we mailed off hard copies to communities. But if you haven't gotten yours yet, feel free to check out the link in the chat that we are going to put in. And it'll take you to our website where you can read it online. We are also working on a sister publication for it that will be done in time for the C4K convening day in September. And that will tell an unabridged version of our origin story, as well as the communities who were a part of our first few years. We'll have all of those communities in there as well. So we're excited about that, and we can't wait to share it with you. And speaking of the C4K convening day, if you haven't yet, you can now register for the Thriving Children, Families, and Communities Conference and the C4K convening day, which will all take place this September 17th and 18th at the usual spot in Kearney, the UNES Conference Center. We'll also drop that link in the chat. And if you are interested in applying to host a breakout session, we have that link as well. Lastly, we launched our newsletter yesterday, which hopefully most of the community members got, the Pillar Monthly, just for communities of C4K. If you didn't, please sign up, or we will also put the link in the chat for that as well, where you can sign up for the Pillar Monthly. All right, so on to the main show. We have two presenters here. I will go ahead and let them introduce themselves, but we are going to start with the Nature Explorer program. So we have three wonderful presenters here today, so I will hand it over to you.
Great. Hi, everyone. It is just super exciting to be here with you all today. For those of you I've not met, my name is Kara Fike. I've actually been with Dimensions Educational Research Foundation, working with the Nature Explorer program for over 8 years. Many of you I met during my time working alongside the We Care for Kids campaign. Increasing capacity for quality early childhood education in our communities is incredibly important. And what has inspired me in this work from day one is how nature-based outdoor classrooms, as we like to refer them to, support the development of children. They create space that nurtures educators, brings community together, and of course, they add to the beauty and sustainability of our outdoor spaces. So Nebraska is doing so much innovative work in the early childhood space, and together we can help nurture the next generation of environmental stewards through a multidisciplinary approach to design. So I'm joined here today with Outreach Director and Education Specialist Heather Fox and Design Director Jill Premack, who will share more about the Nature Explorer program. So with that, I will pass it to Heather, and then I will share my screen because we do have some slides.
Well, we are just so pleased to be here with you today. Nebraska is the place where this work began, and it has been the impetus of much of what we do. And now as a national nonprofit working both in Nebraska and throughout the world, we're happy to continue to support our upbringing, our foundation here in the state. So Jill and I are here. I'm the outreach director and an education specialist for our organization. I've been with Dimensions for about 15 years, about the same amount of time as Jill. And we're just here to tell you a little bit about the work if you're interested in what we're doing and how you can support programs to get connected. Dimensions Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit with a mission to inspire joy and wonder in children and educators in the community with a heart-centered approach to early education. And there's 3 pillars to our organization. There's a Nature Explore piece, which we're talking mostly about today, which is the opportunity to help folks design outdoor classrooms, train teachers and families, and provide support for children who are connecting to the natural world. And then we have the Exchange Press portion of our organization, which is a professional development resource. Much of it is electronic, but we also produce a magazine and have, if some of you might be familiar with what is called Exchange Every Day, which is a inspirational news piece or quote that comes into your inbox every day. And then finally, the piece that you all will probably be the most proud of, and the piece that really holds our roots, is our Dimensions education programs in Lincoln, Nebraska, where we have a site at A Street, 7700 A Street, where research happens and teachers are with children on a daily basis. Now, Jill, do you want to introduce yourself and tell them about these 3 pieces of the Nature Explore program?
Sure, thank you. So my name is Jill Premack. I'm a landscape architect and the design director here at Nature Explore. I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska. And Nature Explore has some different components to it. One being professional development, which is where Heather spends a lot of her time. Doing hands-on workshops in person. We have online opportunities available as well. The outdoor classroom design services, which is where I spend most of my time along with Heather. When we design, we are always with a experienced designer and the education specialist. And it's that multidisciplinary team that we think really leads to the success that we have with these spaces. And then we also have field tested natural products. Some of you might have had your hands on, we call it our resource guide. And that has products available. And on our website, you'll also see a variety of other resources for families and educators.
And we do really want to thank the Forest Service for the support that they've given the Nature Explore program and our state, and just recognize that they are this non-discrimination clause based on race, color, national origin, sex, age, or disability.
So before we get into the agenda for today's webinar, I want to take a little time with this picture. This is our pre-K outdoor classroom at Dimensions Education Programs in Lincoln, Nebraska, which Heather mentioned in our kind of Dimensions umbrella. It's a relatively small space. It's about 3,000 square feet, but the mix of activity areas and open-ended natural materials really make it endlessly engaging. So in front of you, so in the front, you can see we have our nature art area. There's a dirt digging bed, a worm bin, and a garden bed. You can see that beautiful bridge, a sand area. There's a cozy corner, a beautiful open area. In the background, there's an area for block building, a circle of benches for gathering. You can see those students back there. And then in the far back, a large loose parts area for building and climbing and balancing. And this picture gives me a lot of feelings when I look at it. I built that sandbox with my coworker, Bob, and we also built that low workbench that's in there. Staff and families laid the pathways and built the dirt digging bed. The plantings have been added over the years. We had a contractor do the turf and stonework, and the teachers at Dimensions have worked to really personalize this space, layering things in over the years and making it a really special place for the children in their care. And the Nature Explore office is also in this same building. So every day I get to visit with the teachers, observe the children. I have learned so many lessons from this space, and it's really made me the designer that I am today, which is why I wanted to share it with you all as we start to talk about working with the designer and the design process. it's really important for me, for you to know that we don't just design the spaces, we also operate and live in them and kind of understand the reality of making these amazing spaces. So today, we'd like to talk about Nature Explorer outdoor classrooms, what they are, and how Nature Explorer can help support you in your efforts to design, build, and maintain a space of your own. So I'll show some before and after photos, and then we'll open the discussion up for questions. And towards the end, Kara will talk a little bit about a cool new opportunity for a design scholarship.
So as you can see here, this outdoor classroom is nature-based, developed through research and field testing, and each space focuses on the education of the whole child. It allows for exploration, it allows for a connection to the natural world, to yourself, to each other, and there are open-ended, continuous evolving spaces that enhance the physical environment, engage an ever-changing stakeholder, which is the growing child and the growing teacher. We prefer to use the term outdoor classroom rather than playground because it challenges us to think a little bit differently about the spaces. The term playground leads us to think about the structures, the slides, the swings, and also causes some people to think that the space is used for a break from learning. However, through research, we know that the outdoors is actually where some of the best learning happens. For that reason, we prefer to use the term outdoor classroom. Look at the learning that can occur in these spaces. Children can run, climb, and jump, but they can also create, build, imagine, dance, and explore. It's a place where we can engage with our peers or completely on our own. It's a place where we can learn with our hearts and with our whole bodies, and a place that's ever-changing and offering new possibilities. It's a virtual extension of all the wonderful things that are going on in your indoor classrooms.
Thank you, Heather. That was so beautifully said. So now I want to talk a little bit about our designs and workshops and kind of what happens during the design and what that process looks like to see if it sounds like a good fit for your program. Next slide. So there are many different ways to work with us, primarily through our different design and workshop package options. Now, this is something new. We are offering, we're calling it our classic package, which is our flagship 2-day in-person design consultation model. But we're expanding that offering to also have a basic package, which is a little more streamlined with fewer deliverables and less in-person time, as well as an enhanced package that includes additional support in working with a contractor and an illustrative 3D rendering from a professional rendering artist. So if you have reached out to us in the past for design services and the cost at that time felt out of reach, I do encourage you to check back in and see if there's another way that we can help you meet your goals with this new way of structuring. So professional development is also a big part of our work. We know through our research and experience that a successful outdoor classroom is not just about the physical space and the stuff, it's about understanding how to use it. So we pair a Using Your Outdoor Classroom workshop with our design consultations. Outside of that, we also have a variety of online and in-person workshops that can be held in conjunction with or independent from a design consultation. We do have public workshops from time to time, and we can also work specifically with your program. And then our certified classroom network is another really great way to stay connected with us, for us to stay connected with you. And if you're interested in that, we can talk about it more when we open it up for questions. I do also want to mention our Leadership Institute that we partner with the Outdoor Classroom Project on. We do this every summer in Nebraska City. It's coming up soon this year, July 14th through 17th. I believe registration is still open. Is that correct, Heather?
It is.
So
Just
we would love to see you there. Again, I want to move through this presentation part, and then in the question parts, you can let us know what you want more information about. But this is a really great opportunity to connect with other people that are doing this great work. And if this isn't the year for you, maybe we'll see you there next year. So I want to walk you through our design process, kind of what you can expect if you engage with us for design services. So firstly, we learn about your program. So once you've booked a consultation, we kick the process off with a coordination call with you and our multidisciplinary team with the designer and early childhood educator. During that call, we'll talk about your site, we'll look at aerial imagery, review the schedule, discuss logistics, get everything set up for the next step, which involves an in-person visit. And that's where we come and we work with you and your team to really understand your site. So we'll meet with your steering committee or your stakeholder team to familiarize everyone with our research at Nature Explorer and our field-tested design principles that guide all of the designs we do. And then we'll discuss your current space, what's working, what's not, and the vision that you have for your outdoor classroom. And we wrap that meeting up with a walkthrough of your space. So from there, we develop your vision. Following that meeting, our designer will analyze the existing site conditions, we'll take measurements, and from those, we will develop an attainable concept plan. And that's based on the opportunities and constraints of your site, your vision for the space, and the Nature Explorer design principles. Go to the next slide. So later in the day, while the designer's working hard in their hotel room to draft a concept, that is a great time for an in-person workshop to take place. The images on the next slide is a little bit of a behind the scenes sequence of what happens as we start with a blank piece of paper and work out a diagram and then turn it into something more graphically presentable. What you're not seeing in this photo is the mountain of used trace paper that ends up all over the floor. But the next day, we can go on to the next slide, we will come with a draft concept plan to bring to your steering committee. And we see a lot of value in that kind of quick turnaround. All the thinking is fresh. It really helps with consensus building, and it helps us get you what you need in a compressed timeline, so we're not spreading meetings out over several months. So during that second day of the visit, we'll present a draft concept plan to your steering committee, and we'll walk you through the design decisions we made. We'll address any questions you have and help build consensus within your planning group. And we'll take feedback from that meeting to inform any edits to the final package. And then we plan for successful implementation. So upon return from our visit, our team will spend the next few weeks wrapping up your final package, which goes out to you in a PDF format as well as hard copies. And I'll outline what those deliverables look like in these next few slides. Before I get into that, I do also want to, the kind of last step in the process is the ongoing support. So we want to see your classroom thrive. In addition to the concept packages and the resources we provide, we are here to answer any questions that you have as you build, maintain, and grow your space. So what exactly is included in a design consultation package? I'll share with you what those deliverables look like. And as I mentioned before, we have different package options at different price points. We've been calling them our basic, classic, and upgraded packages, so you can follow along with the terminology. So all our packages include a black and white hand-drawn concept plan like the one you see here. This is a refined and edited version of the draft concept plan presented during your design consultation. It's hand-drawn to scale. And it's laid out with bullet points that describe what's in each area, along with reference images to really help people understand the goals of the plan. Next slide. We'll also provide a written project summary. This is a companion to the drawn plan. This speaks to the unique strategies and considerations for each area in your plan, as well as point you to additional resources to utilize as you move through the process. It's a great reference to refer back to when you're sharing the plan with others. We also develop a list of recommended furnishings and loose parts. So furnishings and materials really breathe life into your space. And so to make this easier, we curate a list of field-tested options tailored specifically to your plan, and also lend guidance to you of how to kind of balance the right furnishings at the right price, and how to find something that is going to work for you in your program. Next slide. So our classic and enhanced packages include a color rendered plan, like you see here. So this is like the black and white plan with a little more punch. It has the most presentation value. It's great for sharing with stakeholders, potential supporters, or prospective families on social media, and even in grant applications. Next. To aid budgeting and purchasing, we'll prepare a material quantities plan, and this includes area and volume calculations for bulk construction materials. So things like square feet of flagstone, cubic yards of mulch, linear feet of edging, these sorts of things. It's a great document for establishing a high-level cost estimate for your project. And then the last two pieces are exclusive to our enhanced package. And this includes a 3D illustrative rendering done by a professional artist. These beautiful views will motivate and inspire your community and prospective funders as you share your vision for the nature-rich outdoor classroom you're creating. There's two different examples for you there. And then lastly, we offer support in engaging with a qualified contractor. So providing the contractor with a detailed written scope of work. We'll have a special video conference with them to go over the project, provide assistance with reviewing cost estimates, and advising on ways to work within your budget. So now that you know what the process looks like, I would really like to share with you the value of working with a professional designer. So a professional design consultation, it helps build consensus among stakeholders while we're collaborating on a shared vision for your space. So we funnel everyone's ideas into a single attainable design solution so that you don't hit the dead end that is decision fatigue when you're trying to do these things on your own or with a committee, and that decision making can become sometimes so difficult that the project stops before it even begins. Now, a good design helps avoid practical construction and implementation challenges that can be avoided by good planning with an experienced design team. So that really can help you avoid inefficiencies and wasteful spending. Clients benefit from our years of experience and lessons learned. Our design team is skilled at efficiently weighing the pros and cons of different area locations, material choices and furnishings, and equipment recommendations. And because our design philosophy is rooted in research-based, field-tested principles, you can be confident that your funds are going towards a successful design that works for children and the educators that support them. And as a nonprofit, our mission is to help nature become an integral, joyful part of children's daily learning. And we do that through our design clients. So the success of your space is very important to our mission. So all our design clients receive that ongoing support I mentioned earlier, and that's throughout the life of the classroom. We're here to advise on questions that arise while you're implementing your space, maintenance questions, safety concerns. These are living, growing, evolving spaces. And so we are always just an email away if you have any questions. Or, just need to chat.
And then Jill and Heather, I know we're coming up close on time. If you just wanted to quickly walk through the before and afters, that'd be great.
So this is Los Angeles Unified School District. They're right in the center of a city, and we have several sites through the Los Angeles Unified School District system that have made these transformations. They had a design and workshop, just like Jill described, and were able to implement something like this. Here you can see the opportunities. Yeah. And then just all the opportunities for children. Here is Cummins Child Development Center. This is in Indiana. They started with a blank slate like this, and had a design and workshop with a designer educator team. And now they're experiencing things like this in their outdoor space. I hope you can see the richness in the materials, the opportunities for delineation of space, and how welcoming the site is for children and teachers of all kinds. Anyone is welcome here and can find something to love here. So now we'll just open it up to questions. If you have questions about logistics or where you can find resources, please just bring those forward now and we'll feel comfortable answering them. And Rachel's moving outside. Yes, yes, yes. Next time we see you on Zoom, your office will be outside. Any questions?
I will mention, and if questions pop up, we're happy to answer those. We are really excited for, honestly, the first time ever, Nature Explorer is offering a design scholarship. We just launched this last month, I believe. Within that scholarship, we will select one site to receive a basic design consultation package, I should say. So here's what is included in that. The deadline, so the application closes on Friday, June 14th, so next week, I believe. We're going to announce the winner on July 1st. And then I do have a QR code. If anyone is interested, you can scan that for more information to get that application process as well. And then I also wanted to share our beautiful new resource guide. It's actually mailing next month, but if you'd like a sneak peek, you can scan this QR code. This is just a beautiful guide that walks through everything that Jill and Heather had mentioned, from our design processes to professional development to certification to natural products. You'll find it all in this guide. And I am just here to help and answer questions and support however necessary. So that is my email. Please email me anytime. I'll love hearing from you.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. Those were stunning designs and pictures. We appreciate you taking the time today.
You only work with childcares, or does it also go with other, like, we have somebody in our local community designing and going with a sensory thing for children, like with special needs and stuff.
Yeah, so our designs are in all programs that children spend their time. They're in early childhood programs, churches, nature centers, museums, hospitals. So
Elementary
yeah, anywhere a
schools.
child would spend time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having us.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We are going to move on to our next presenter. I will let Ashton introduce herself, but we have a presenter from presenting on Go Knapsack. So I will turn it over to Ashton.
Hi, everybody. Well, I don't know if I can really top that presentation. I with Rachel, I think we should all just move outside and call it an afternoon, right? It's too nice to be inside. So hopefully I'm going to share my screen here. So let me go ahead and do that. And I just have a short presentation about Go Knapsack. And I'm not always the best at multitasking, presenting, and watching chat. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat if you have questions, and I will look after I'm done presenting. Otherwise, my brain just goes kind of all over the place. So my name is Ashton Figner, and I work for Nebraska Extension, and my role is the Nebraska Go Knapsack coordinator, like I just said. So I co-coordinate this project with Danya Barron. She was not able to join today. But it's amazing to have somebody else checking emails when you're out of the office and you're outside playing. So I'm thrilled to be here to share about the exciting work we are doing with Nebraska and the Go Knapsack initiative. Nebraska Go Knapsack, which stands for Nutrition and Physical Activity Self-Assessment for Childcare, is made possible by the partnerships and funding from the following organizations, which are listed on this slide. Together, these partnerships make up the Go Knapsack collaborative team, and we are so thankful for all of our partnering organizations. I always say that, it takes a team to be able to have a really strong program, and without those listed on the screen, I don't know if Go Knapsack would be what it is today. So the overall goal of Go Knapsack, and something that our team is really striving to improve, is the quality of early care and education programs across Nebraska. So in our state, nearly 80% of children from birth through age 5 are in some sort of paid childcare. So this is why it's so important to make their home away from home a healthy environment and setting. Environmental level strategies and ECE settings, such as improving policies and practices related to nutrition, physical activity, and breastfeeding, appear to directly influence children enrolled in these programs. So from mealtime to playtime to story time, children have many opportunities each day to learn and practice healthy habits. Go Knapsack is a trusted process that helps childcare centers and homes go the extra mile to support children's healthy eating and physical activity. So Go Knapsack is offered statewide, and right now we have about 24 consultants available across the state. Our team of consultants provide training and technical assistance to childcare programs all across Nebraska. So if you're looking and you're like, oh, I'm actually located in one of the light gray areas, I don't have anybody that covers. That's actually where myself, and then you'll see Lindsay Hanlon up in the right-hand corner. We are really those statewide consultants. And so we cover all of the other counties in which our consultants don't cover. So it is covered. And this next slide, what I would really like to do is take a little bit of time to watch this video. It's only, I think, about 4-ish minutes. And one of the main purposes that I think this is a great opportunity to present is that we just launched in January, which seems like January was so long ago, but still within this year, the new Go Knapsack system. And so this system is from North Carolina, and North Carolina is where Go Knapsack originated. And so now Nebraska is part of that initiative, and we have access to the national platform, which change is always hard, but this is probably one of the best changes we could have made, because now we have full access to the platform and all that the platform offers. It really has been an amazing experience, hearing from providers and hearing from our consultants how much easier the process is, how many more resources are available at their fingertips. And so we're going to go ahead and watch this video quick, and you'll get to learn a little bit about the process.
Welcome to Go Knapsack. You're joining a special group of early care and education programs nationwide that are committed to helping prepare children for a lifetime of healthy habits. Go Knapsack works with childcare providers to improve practices, policies, and environments. We offer modules on key topics like healthy eating, physical activity, and oral health. The online tools will lead you through 5 steps. Your first step with Go Knapsack is to take a self-assessment. Self-assessments help you see your program's strengths and areas for improvement. From the self-assessment dashboard, you can choose the section in which you'd like to focus your work. You will answer a series of questions and see your results. As you review each area, you will begin thinking about the healthy changes you might like to make. In Step 2, Action Planning, you will create a roadmap for making these healthy changes a reality. From the Action Planning dashboard, you can start an action plan in any section in which you have already taken a self-assessment. Start by selecting 3 to 5 goals. You will create a separate action plan for each goal. As you move on to Step 3 and Take Action, our tips and materials library will provide helpful resources. Find resources related to your goals on the Action Planning dashboard by clicking Related Tips and Materials. If you'd like to look through our whole library, go to our Tips and Materials dashboard. Choose your focus area, and then look through the tabs to find helpful documents and videos. To select a resource as a favorite, click the star. This will save it in the My Favorite section on the main Tips and Materials page. In Step 4, we encourage you to learn more about how you can support children's healthy eating and physical activity every day. Training opportunities can be found online and in person through organizations that support quality improvement in childcare. Now that you have started making healthy changes to your program, it's time for Step 5. Keep it up. When you reach a goal, log your success by clicking I reached this goal at the bottom of your action plan. After reaching 5 or more goals, take the self-assessment again to see your program's progress. You may want to strive for new goals in the same section or start the 5 steps in a new section. Your My Knapsack dashboard will also help you track your progress over time. At any time, you can find a recap of your activities on your My Knapsack dashboard. It also provides quick links for many of the activities discussed in this video. We hope that you're excited to go Knapsack and make your program an even healthier place for children to learn and grow. Together, we can ensure that children nationwide get a healthy start.
So as you saw in the video, there are 5 steps to the Go Knapsack process. And I'm not going to necessarily walk through all of them because they just did in the video. But I do really like the way that the platform is easy to use. And I've heard that, so many times from different providers, just that they can log in and they actually feel comfortable with navigating the site. Our other system, that wasn't so much that way. And so the unique part of the process is that the providers actually get paired with a Go Knapsack consultant really right away. So about that assess step, once they fill out their registration form, I'm actually contacting consultants across the state, seeing who has capacity to work with them. And then they kind of have somebody that they can lean on throughout the whole process. And we found that that's really where some of that magic happens, because it can get really, really easy to be overwhelmed in the process of figuring out anything. And I hear that so many times from providers, that there's so many agencies that they're trying to work with and they don't remember who works with who. And that's one thing that I do feel like Go Knapsack, we really try to have that relationship with those providers. And so by the end, we're that cheering squad that's helping them through all of those goals, but also pushing them with maybe some of those goals that they're teetering on and they're like, oh, I picked it, but I'm not sure if I can get there, really helping them and pushing them across the finish line. So in Nebraska, you noticed on the video that there are 7 different health areas, but in Nebraska, we actually focus on 5. And the 5 that we focus on are screen time, child nutrition, outdoor play and learning, breastfeeding and infant feeding, infant and child physical activity. And then the 2 optional modules that they have full access to, but we don't work on those right now, are Farm to ECE and oral health. So if a site is really interested in some of those Farm to ECE topics, they're more than able to download any of the materials and use those materials. The reason that we don't focus on oral health and Farm to ECE is because that doesn't align with Step Up to Quality right now. I wouldn't be surprised if, maybe that is something that comes, but they're bonus materials for now. So now we're just going to spend a really quick time doing a little bit of a deeper dive into a few best practice examples. And so ultimately what this looks like is when I'm meeting with providers, whether that's face-to-face or whether that's over Zoom, is they take their self-assessment and then they have a list of best practices that they're meeting, and then some of those best practices that they're really close to meeting. And then this is where they get to pick what goals they want to work on. So it's completely provider driven. I have my favorite goals that I like to work on with sites, but ultimately my opinion of that doesn't matter, right? It's all about the provider and what they want to do and what they want to accomplish. And so on this list are just a few examples of best practices in all of the different areas. And so I picked two that I like to kind of work on with sites. And so this one is around the program offering vegetables 2 times per day or more. Vegetables are hard, whether you're a kid or whether you're an adult. And so we always talk about with sites that, we have to kind of sometimes as adults put our opinions about vegetables to the side, because sometimes vegetables can be scary if you've never heard of some of these things on this list. And so really once I'm getting to know the provider and talking through some of those issues that may come up around this goal or what's maybe hindering them from reaching this goal, this is one resource that I like to use, and this is called a vegetables best practice. And so in this case, they would place an X by the vegetables that they serve on a regular basis, and then they circle 3 vegetables that they would like to add to their upcoming menu. Sometimes this is a really easy shift and they're like, yep, I'm going to do all of these things, no big deal. Other times they have to run things by different board members, or it's a cost issue. It's not every single provider is dealing with the same issue around meeting a best practice. And then at the bottom boxes, they'll make a list of child-friendly ideas for serving vegetables. So that's where I help them come up with ideas or recipes or maybe different ways of cooking the vegetable so that it still retains its healthy value and nutrition value. And so that's one of the goals that I like working on. And then this is another one that I really, really like in the new system. And so the best practices at the top. So I complete professional development on infant feeding and nutrition 2 times per year or more. And this is a common best practice that providers tend to lead towards. And, professional development can be hard because some providers really like in-person, some really like self-paced options. And so we were kind of teetering on like, what do we offer to make sure that we have enough information that feels good for providers? And so all of our trainings are self-paced, and they can be added into NEPRS for in-service hours. And so that's one thing that I feel like when I'm talking to providers about this, they just take a huge sigh of relief, like, oh, this is so helpful. And all of our trainings are self-approved or pre-approved ultimately. And so that's really nice because all they have to do is download their certificate, enter it into NEPRS, and that takes care of a lot of that in-service hours for themselves and for staff. And again, it's self-paced, and the trainings range from like 25 minutes to 40 minutes. So a lot of times they'll kind of sit down during nap time and take a few trainings, or they can do it at night, whatever works best for them. So that's another perk of the new system. So on this slide, I just wanted to kind of highlight a few quotes from the directors and owners when we asked them about what they found most helpful when participating in Go Knapsack. And one of my favorite one was in the middle. So the resources and support from our trainer have been so valuable. We have a strong relationship and know who to go for guidance and ideas. And that's one of the things I love most about the program is getting to know the site, because ultimately, if they're working with Step Up to Quality, which is the quality rating and improvement system, they're probably going to be going through Go Knapsack 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, depending on how long they're in that role or what their process looks like. And so, each year or every other year when I get to see these providers, it's so fun to be able to see all the new changes that they've made in such a short period of time. So I always like looking at the quotes that they find most helpful. And then another perk that childcare providers often love is that they can earn this incentive package. And so the incentive package is $130 worth of items given upon completion. And on the next slide, we'll go into that a little bit more. But on the slide, you can see that there's a lot of different resources that they can get. So nutrition and physical activity resources, obviously at in the library that they can download, one-on-one support from their Go Knapsack consultant, earn points for Step Up to Quality. And so all of these things are things that these programs tend to love. So here's the incentive package once they complete the process that we send them. And all of the items that we send them actually relate back to the 5 main health areas. And so the first one that they'll get is a ribbon wand. So that correlates with infant and child physical activity, outdoor play and learning, and then also screen time. So, obviously to reduce screen time, we want to find other activities that they can do. The My Plate game, which is a center-based game, and it talks about healthy eating choices. And I think this is a unique one, and this one obviously relates to child nutrition. Sometimes it's kind of hard for sites to think about what can I do to incorporate more child nutrition into my classroom, and this is a great way of doing that. The Active Play book and DVD set is amazing. So it's by Dr. Diane Kraft, and that relates to infant and child physical activity, outdoor play and learning, and screen time as well. It's really simple ideas, you know, things like using a paper plate to play games, things that you'd probably already have in your site, but maybe they've been sitting there for forever and you don't know what to do, or how to make ribbon wands, you know, really inexpensively, because some of these portable play equipment items can be really expensive for sites, and they aren't always sitting on a lot of money. And so it can be really frustrating if that's maybe something that's holding them back of meeting a best practice. Mama's Milk book is for breastfeeding. The Parachute is for infant and child physical activity, screen time, and outdoor play and learning. And then the preschool fitness dice are for the same areas. So I also like to mention Step Up to Quality, because that is Nebraska's quality rating and improvement system, which began in 2014. It assists ECE in improving quality and increasing positive child outcomes for our youngest kids. And Go Knapsack fits right within the goals of Step Up to Quality. So although I don't work with necessarily in Step Up to Quality, my work is intertwined. And so I work for Extension. So it makes it nice and confusing. And I think this is why providers get so confused, because there's so many different hands, right? Like we all are different organizations, but we all play a part in the different success and just being able to help. So in step 2 of Step Up to Quality, there is one required Go Knapsack activity, which includes completing the pre-assessments. And then in step 3 through 5, ECEs self-select which points to focus on in each standard area. So in the areas of program curriculum, learning environments, and interactions, programs will have the options of earning up to 11 points for the listed Go Knapsack activities, which is a huge amount of points. And that's oftentimes why a lot of providers do decide to go through Go Knapsack. And they find it really kind of self-empowering, and again, that the provider can pick and choose what they want to work on. It doesn't feel like it's this big daunting task of like, we have to rewrite all your policies, or we have to do these things. Oftentimes I feel like they're completing so many goals that they didn't even know that they could reach, just with a little bit of extra help. So Go Knapsack supports early childhood professionals as they create a healthy environment for children to eat, play, and grow. They play a critical role in advocating for children's health, and one provider said it so well: these goals were all things I wanted to eventually do, and this helped me to finally get them done. So on the next slide, I'll put our website, and I can put it in the chat after I'm done as well. But what you will do, how to get started, is you will click on Create a New Go Knapsack account. And if providers are interested, they will click on that, and it'll actually take them to a Google form. It just asks basic information to help me kind of understand where they're located, what consultants are close by, if they're working with Step Up to Quality. And then from there, I reach out, usually within a couple hours, and get them started on the process. So here is my contact information. If you go to this site, and again, I'll put this in the chat when I'm done, but that's probably the best way to reach us. Email is the best way for me. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I missed. I think what I'll do is I'll stop share and I see that there's a few things in the chat. So let me go ahead and pull.
I think it's mostly just compliments.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Heather said, yeah. So I'm glad that with step 5, it was helpful and easy to understand. We try to make it easy, you know, sometimes though, it's still like, what are we supposed to do, or where are we supposed to go? So we're always happy to answer any questions. I'm always happy to get on a phone call, a Zoom call with providers. I've also done that with a lot of different community organizations, just to explain where we play a part in Step Up to Quality, because I get it can be confusing. Sometimes I'm confused as well. So I have to ask questions all the time. So I will put my email and then our website in the chat. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
And we'll be sending this recording out to all of our communities. So if you don't get one today, you're likely to get one in email.
Sounds good.
So
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for letting me hop on today. I appreciate being able to present, and I also appreciate being able to hear about Nature Explorer, because I think this is kind of where a lot of connections happen, is just by hearing about what other organizations are doing. And I just see so much potential. I'm like, oh my goodness, could I just have you guys come and draw a little, I don't know, play space for adults outside of my office? We all need some nature, right? So thank you so much. I appreciate the time today.
Great, thank you. Okay, well, that was fantastic. I hope you enjoyed listening to those presentations with us. We are planning on coming back in 2 months. Like I said, instead of every month, we're going to 2 months. So we'll be back August 7th, and we'll need everybody to register for that one too. So there will be a registration link sent as soon as all of that is prepped. So thanks everybody, and thanks everybody watching on the recording. We will see you next time.
Thank you guys for the opportunity.
Thank
Take
you.
care.